Are you ready to dive in the world of project management? Hit that subscribe button as we explore how to stay relevant in the agile workforce. I want to talk today about a topic that not that many individuals like, and that's dealing with change. Let's be real. Change is not necessarily a good thing, but it could be depending on what types of changes are being made. In a lot of projects, changes cause disruption to projects. Nobody wants to have change. People get used to their routine. People know exactly what they're supposed to be doing. And then all of a sudden, there's something abrupt that changes. Let's say it's a personnel change. Let's say it's one of the deliverables that is changing. Let's say it's a timeline change. Whatever that change is, trust me, I've experienced it. You've probably experienced it. It's typically not good. That's where project managers come into play. The project manager is usually that change agent, that change manager. They're the ones that know the statement of work. They know the scope of the project. They're obviously not the ones that create that. The sponsor creates a lot of that information, what the scope, what the statement of work is. The project manager is the one that is managing the deliverables, managing the timeline, managing a lot of the costs and accounting, all that stuff, managing the personnel, etc. But when it comes down to that change and that change management, that project manager needs to be one of the first individuals that is noticing, anticipating any potential changes. If there is a change to potential personnel, let's say a person decides to quit, that project manager needs to be using some foresight. They need to also be using some of their people skills to be able to identify earlier on if there's potential disagreements or if a person is potentially on their way out. If they're shocked by that potential change, and that project manager has not been communicating with the team. They have not been taking the right pulse of the individuals. They're probably more standoffish. And, you need to utilize some of those leadership skills, some of those power skills that we'll talk about in other discussions. And I also have some videos. Definitely make sure that you subscribe to the channel. Check out those other videos so you can learn some of those power skills, because those power skills help the project managers in a lot of that leadership. And that really is empowering your team. Because if your team is not empowered, and I have a video about empowering your team, then your team is not going to want to work with you. They're going to feel like they're working with a dictator. If you're not empowered, that means you're being dictated. So you want to make sure that you're empowering your team. But going back to change and why change management is critical, because if you don't have a process in place, even if it's something as simple, as immediate as a change is identified, you communicate it to the sponsor and get a sign off or a disapproval. Something as simple as that, or it can be as complex as having a change management system. That's much more complex. That's having a system of more of a process, or like a change review governance board, and those are designated individuals that will actually review and vet those potential changes and kind of give a vote up or vote down. Those are typical individuals or key stakeholders, typically from the customer or sponsor side, but that's on the higher end. But like I mentioned, that change management can be as simple as soon as that change is identified, communicating that change to the sponsor and getting either a thumbs up or thumbs down, to as complex as that governance process where you have board and you're getting a review informal. Now, one of the biggest things that you do not want to do, and I have a video about this, is from a vendor side, is gold plating. And that is going and just kind of being rogue and doing your own thing and trying to add additional things without customer approval. Typically, that's trying to maybe get some extra good graces, maybe a good extra review because you added an additional feature or something whatnot, but you do not want to do that. That type of change can have negative feedback from the customer at the end of the day because they didn't sign off on that. And gold plating is not. You could have huge implications if it's something significant. So you want to stay away from that. You want to follow that statement of work. And that's the reason why a change control process, and like I said, that could be as simple as project manager just as it identifies those changes and brings it up to the sponsor, or more complex, having more of a governance program, a review board reward, and that also works. Now, typically, the more money, the more dollars, the longer in length. That will, if it's longer in length, if it's more dollars, then you're going to have that. You're going to need to have. You just can't simply just have from a bandwidth or any of that, just doing that simple process. So those are some of the hugest, biggest indicators of why you need to have a change review process. And like I said, no one likes dealing with change. The only times that change actually is for the better was when it typically lessens that workload. Then everyone's all happy. They're like high-fiving and everyone's jumping for glee. Oh yes, now we have a break or the workload has lessened. But otherwise, change is going against what the original plan is. And if it's not according towards that initial plan, there's going to be some sort of discomfort from individuals. So you want to make sure that you have some sort of process in place. And typically the project manager is going to be that one individual that's going to be managing a lot of that change. Obviously, they're not signing off on all the changes because they don't have the authority. That has to come from someone within that sponsor arena. But, they're the ones that are managing, collecting, and seeing it through the process. And, once they've gotten authorization, they communicate that to the project team. And if there's any other change review content that you want to see on this channel, please comment in the comments below. And we'll definitely get a video about how to deal with change. But I definitely want you to like, subscribe to this channel. We're going to have a bunch more videos on similar topics, and we look forward to seeing you next time. Thank you for joining us today. If you found this video helpful, please like, share, and subscribe to this channel for more project management content. See you on the next one.